6:24 on the Revolution. Headlines coming for you pretty soon, and a check on the roads as well. ZZ Top there. Okay, it's time to get a little bit spooky this morning. We want to know your paranormal experiences. Doesn't matter whether you believe or you don't believe. What has your experiences of ghosts been? Text us 07979 962 962. Basically, we think the Revolution is haunted, and what we've done today is the building the Revolution.
Yep.
We're convinced it's haunted. We've invited in ClubZero. Welcome to the show this morning, boys.
Good morning. Thank you.
Three lads. Now, am I right in thinking that you are like the modern day version of the Ghostbusters?
Yeah, in more or less in them terms, it would be the modern day version of the Ghostbusters, yeah.
Of the Ghostbusters. Okay, so, right. Imagine I think my house is haunted.
Right.
What happens next? What do you do?
Well, obviously we'd come visit your house. We'd have a good look around. We'd use modern day equipment.
Like what?
EMF meters, temperature readers, ion detectors, infrared cameras, motion sensors. We use trigger objects, all those type of things to see what responses we may get from there.
And what responses are you looking for to sense a ghost?
Well, we're looking for fluctuations in the electromagnetic fields, temperature variations, up, down, always changing, the temperature changes from time to time. Trigger objects are laid out to see if any movement or presences. Obviously, if any trigger objects move, then we know that whatever's moving it could be an active energy.
Okay. Now, I know, Chris, you're kind of like the boss of ClubZero. You've obviously brought your two colleagues with you as well. We've got the two Pauls in this morning. Good morning, boys, to you two.
Good morning.
So, Paul number one, I'm going to ask you this first. If you do find that there's paranormal frequencies in the house, should we call it that? If there's ghosts, then how do you get rid of them? What next?
Well, we don't actually get rid of them. All we do is document and send pictures back to the people whose property we've been into. What we can do is we can pass that information on to the Spiritualist Church if the people want the ghost to
leave,
yeah, go on to the spirit world.
You seem to be avoiding that word exercise.
I don't do much exercise.
So unfortunately you don't go in with a box like they used to on Ghostbusters and suck them in?
No, we haven't got an old ambulance and a proton pack yet. We've just got modern day equipment, and we just pass it on to the Spiritualist Church for them to sort out.
To deal with.
I think Paul number two actually has got a Slimer doll.
Have you? Paul number two is also part of the team. You've got a Slimer doll.
What's a Slimer doll when it's at home then?
Well, I'll let Chris explain that one.
Well, he's a little green slimy thing from the film Ghostbusters.
Yeah, they had them in Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been slimed. That was the one, wasn't it?
I'm sure we can arrange it, Al, if that's what you'd like. Yeah, not a problem at all.
I get it most mornings with you, don't I?
You must have some really crazy stories.
Yeah,
which
we've had a few encounters.
We can talk about. And I also want to know as well, kind of, how do you know that ghosts exist? Because Al's not really a believer.
I know.
So in a couple of minutes' time, you're going to stick around, aren't you? So we can kind of see if there's a way of proving, or it might all be about faith. Who knows? Thanks, guys. We'll speak to you again in a sec.
Revolution Travel with Pentagon Fox.
7979 962 962. Lots of texts coming through saying, can you just actually explain what is a ghost? Chris.
Ghosts and spirits are very different things. Spirits are from a higher plane, where ghosts would be from deceased people, deceased animals. So they are very different.
So why do some people become ghosts and some people don't?
Some people will become ghosts. Obviously, they're still left on the earth plane because of unfinished business that they've had to do.
So it is that old thing of it's an unfinished. There's something.
Business. Yeah, there's some things there. I mean, obviously for spirits, then obviously they're on a higher plane, so they don't have that type of scenario. Other people are yanked away from life traumatically, and suddenly, before the transition process has actually been understood by the person departing.
Okay. A text in here that says, "Can ghosts see us?"
It's an unusual concept. I mean, it's when the two, we believe, when the two dimensions collide with each other, as it were, and it causes a portal, and we can see these ghosts from time to time. Then I would assume it was safe to assume that they can also see us, but if they're apparently ghosts to us, is also a safe concept to assume that we could be ghosts to them as well, because they would be living in their own little world.
So just in that respect, then, would that make them as spooked of us as what we are of them?
Well, probably very much rightly. I mean, you saw somebody from 10 years from now dressed in strange clothes, you know. I mean, say you've got a ghost from the 1800s or a spirit from the 1800s, and all of a sudden they came across somebody in a leather bike jacket and you know, a helmet, then obviously they're going to think, well, the alien scenario, you know.
What's going on?
Oh, the alien scenario. Hey, that's interesting.
Very interesting. And do they, say you've just said that ghosts are often because they've died traumatically or something like that.
Some, yeah.
So do they come back to the scene of their trauma? Is that where they would haunt?
Yeah, a lot of ghosts are associated with the scene of death, a scene of trauma. Other ghosts, for different reasons, appear to different, you know, in different places. They visit loved ones, they communicate with different people, but the majority seem to be associated. This is from documentation and research that we try to uncover. The majority seem to be associated with the actual place of the loss of life.
Okay. Well, Colin's on the line. He's actually seen a ghost. Good morning, Colin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you tell us what happened?
Right, well, it's where I used to work years ago. We used to make brake linings, and the ovens that we were cleaning out while they were on holiday, we had to sweep them out for, you know, they had bits of asbestos that dropped.
Yeah.
Anyway, me and my mate, we were cleaning it out this one day, and he went for a brew. And while he went for a brew, I was just sweeping the asbestos from this end, and he heard a noise down the far end of the oven. These ovens were like 50, 60 foot long.
Right, huge ovens.
Yeah, huge ovens. As I stopped and shone the light down, and down the far end I could see a figure of somebody sweeping. Now I thought that my mate had come back with the brews and gone down the far end. So as I started walking down towards him, about halfway in the oven is the way up, the way you get into him. As I got nearer to the door, the light I had went out.
Right.
And I heard a noise coming up the ladder. So as I looked out and looked down, it was my mate coming up. And as I looked back down the oven, the light I had in my hand come back on. And as I shone it down to the far end, whatever was down the far end had disappeared. It had gone.
And have you had a chance to talk to your work colleagues or anything since? Is there any other explanation?
Oh no, I'm going back about, I'm going back 20 years ago now for this. But actually, when it actually come down from finishing the ovens off, they said that a fella years ago was sweeping. The light he was using went off, and he'd slipped and he'd fell and fell off the far end of the oven and actually broke his neck.
Right. So, Chris, this could explain some of what you were saying before about people dying traumatically and...
Well, it can do, yeah. I mean, if I might just say to the caller, has anybody else that you know reported the same sighting or the same scenario at all?
Well, what it was, they wanted volunteers to clean the ovens out, and me and my mate were the only ones who cleaned them, and everybody were laughing.
Yeah. I mean,
they wouldn't tell us why.
Right.
So, okay.
I think this would be the reason why.
Obviously, well, it sounds like other people have experienced it. If they've actually experienced or seen the same scenario, the same the figure, as you say, sweeping up, it could be a safe bet to say that it could be residual.
Well, this was the only oven that had break down for some reason.
Right. Well, I mean, residual energy will portray itself in many different forms. Often signs of machinery breaking down, doors opening, and all sorts of things will correspond with certain events that actually happen. But I mean, residual energy would be like an event that's happened replayed. It'll be held within the fabric of a building, replaying itself over and over and over, like a tape recorder or a video recorder.
Well, like, you know what you were saying about he wears the same clothing?
Right.
The clothing, like, when we were, like, sweeping the ovens out, we were, like, with it being asbestos, we had, like, breathing apparatus on.
Yeah.
And, like, they were, like, suits that you wore, you know, stop the asbestos getting everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, this fella, like, wore just like the clothes that we wear when we were on the shop floor.
Right.
Working on the shop floor.
So he wouldn't have been wearing the asbestos.
No, so you weren't wearing that asbestos hat.
Right. Was the type of clothing? Do you identify the type of clothing as?
Well, it was clothing that they wore about years ago. You know, before they started bringing the new law in for asbestos.
Yeah. Right.
So he was dressed how he would have been.
Yeah.
Basically at the time.
Probably reliving these last moments, or he might have been sweeping up at the time and fell into a machine or something. You don't know what's actually happened there, but obviously, yeah, it seems to be reliving from his time period.
Colin, listen, thank you very much for your call.
No problem, Millsy, Big Al.
All right.
Cheers, mate.
Take care, mate. See ya.
Bye.
Time for Alan Kirkham's second hot property of this week now.
today. Snow everywhere. It's the Revolution, 8:53. So we've been talking this morning to ClubZero, the modern-day Ghostbusters. Basically, they are coming to the Coliseum very, very soon. A new production starting there called Turn of the Screw, which is a spooky story. It's opening on the 10th of March, and at the end of every single show, you guys are going to be there, aren't you?
That's right.
Certainly are, yeah.
Talking about ghosts.
Well, that's
presumably,
that's
and
right.
Any questions I've got?
spooky.
So this is
things.
just for a reassurance situation then, after the show, are we talking about?
Yeah,
Or
some people obviously, they may watch the show, and the concept of the show, anything paranormal, we're there on hand to deliver these type of information to the public.
Or if they've had any experiences that they want to share with us, then they're happy to,
They can talk about it.
Yeah, of course they can.
Got to just ask you one last question, boys. Lots of text saying, should we be scared of ghosts? Is there anything frightening? Can they harm us?
No, I wouldn't say really. I mean, different scenarios. It's your conceptation of a ghost. I think that would that people would be frightened of.
Okay, so you're more frightened of the idea of, it's a ghost, rather than anything that it can actually do to
I'd be
you.
more scared of the living than I would of the dead.
Listen, guys, thank you so much for coming in. We would love you to come back sometime and properly test our building. Would that be okay?
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so if you'd like to catch ClubZero, get yourself down to the Coliseum's next production, Turn of the Screw, opening on the 10th of March. Boys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Ghostbusters have been in this morning. Kaiser Chiefs now in the Revolution.
Time on your side that will never end. The most beautiful thing you can ever spend, but you